Pieter Vedder is our speaker tonight. He and his wife Marie travel extensively and although retired, continue to be involved internationally as consultants in the mushroom industry. The thing that makes him so unique as our speaker tonight is the fact that he and Ms. Vedder both became American citizens in 1993, and he lives right here in Dublin, Lawrence County. Peter was born in 1929 in the Netherlands as the youngest son of a market gardener. He grew up during the tough times of the late 30s, World War II, and the post-war period of the 50s. He studied horticulture and horticultural engineering in Wageningen and served for 2 years in the Dutch Army. In 1955, he started working for the Dutch government as an extension service officer to help develop the agro-industry in the southern part of the Netherlands. There he had a special interest for mushroom cultivation and got involved in mushroom research and training. He worked under Dr. Pieter Bijls at the Dutch Mushroom Experiment Station in Hoist for several years. In 1963, he established the world's first mushroom training center in Hoist, where he was director through July of 1983. He is a fine photographer, and using his own photos, he wrote a book about mushroom growing, which has been translated into 8 languages. In 1982, he received the prestigious Sindon Award in recognition of his outstanding contribution to the mushroom industry. His mushroom courses at Hoist had a worldwide reputation and have helped innumerable growers from many countries. In August 1983, he accepted the function of Vice President, Training and Development for Campbell Soup's Mushroom Division, one of the biggest mushroom producing companies in the world, and they moved to Dublin, Georgia. In that function, he and his wife, Marie, traveled all over the United States and over the globe, lecturing and visiting farms, research centers, and so forth. In 1989, having left Dublin, he and Marie, who is also an international expert in the mushroom industry, worked for Fungi del Montello, the largest mushroom producing company in Italy. In March 1990 through April 1992, they worked together in Indonesia. They commuted from Dublin, Georgia, where they had taken up residence again. In fact, they have just returned to Dublin Saturday from Indonesia. As I said before, in 1993, they both became American citizens. It's amazing to think that all the countries and places that they could live because of the extensive travel and consulting they do, they not only chose to live in America, but Dublin, Lawrence County was also their choice. Help me welcome Pieter Vedder.
Thanks for the kind introduction. Now you know almost all about the two of us. For the introduction of a speaker, a typical question always is, what is exactly your title? In a certain booklet, we found that there actually is no prouder title than to be an American citizen. Although the weather is not cooperating too well, today we have something really important to celebrate. As you all know, we celebrate Uncle Sam's 218th birthday, the birth of this great nation. In the introduction, you have heard that we are new Americans, although with an accent. We came to this country already in '83. My wife's love affair with the United States started in April of '83, her very first visit to the New World. Some Campbell Soup people taught her at that time some history by visiting Rockford, Michigan, where President Ford grew up. They thought maybe she was homesick, and thus they brought her to Holland in Michigan. She was not homesick, but just absorbing all she could about this fascinating new world. One of the highlights was the visit to Chestnut Street in Philadelphia, to the Independence Hall, the home of the Liberty Bell, a shrine of patriotism for all Americans. There, we learn more about life with a capital L, and also liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The next day, we flew to Dublin, Georgia, and there we fell deeper and deeper in love with the new world. So in August of '83, we came to live here. This was our pursuit of happiness. Last year, as you have heard, we got our American citizenship, and since then we can say we are Dutch by birth and American by choice, and we are proud of both. There are a couple of reasons for that pride. Maybe you didn't know, but the Dutch of any nation have the longest uninterrupted friendly relationship with the United States. And for sure, we like to keep it that way. It was on November 16 in 1776 that the fort on the Dutch island of St. Eustatius in the Caribbean returned the salute from the American warship Andrea Doria as it entered the harbor. This was the first salute by a foreign power to the flag of the United States of America. As the history books say, this was a very courageous action by the Dutch, and it enhanced the diplomatic credibility of the USA. It also gave a strong boost to the morale of the revolutionary troops. So, today, it is 218 years ago that the US has been founded. In the Dutch tradition, birthdays always are important events, often celebrated with an all-day open house, birthday gifts, etc. A good question, not only for us, but for all immigrants, could be, why did you come to the US? What did we expect to find here, what we eventually didn't expect, didn't have in the country where we lived before? Although a lot of things have changed since then, the answer will be more or less identical to what brought the founding fathers to this part of the world over 200 years ago. The most important reason for them was the freedom and the space to live in the most broad sense. The freedom to believe in God in different ways. The freedom to have your own opinion. The opportunity to develop yourself up to the limits, etc. On this birthday, we should never forget that the founding fathers, and after them numerous immigrants, have for sure not chosen the easiest way. They didn't find a paradise, they just found a place with almost unlimited opportunities, but they had to be explored. Very important also is that their freedom was based on a strong moral and on a personal responsibility. That, in combination with hard work, made this country into what it is today. In our opinion, the best country to live in. We have a number of good reasons to make this statement. As you perhaps know or picked up from the introduction, for our job we traveled and still do all over the world and lived in several countries. We lived in Dublin from '83 through '88, and after that, as you have heard, in Italy and Indonesia. We more and more discovered what a great country the United States is to live in. We got homesick, and looked for every opportunity to return. With O. Henry, we can say, you can't appreciate home till you have left it, or not old glory till you see it hanging on a broomstick on the shanty of a consul in a foreign town. We think that in general, Americans don't realize how blessed they are. Too many things we just take for granted. Especially the younger generation should realize that it hasn't been always this good. Just travel the world and find out how spoiled in fact we are. As the founding fathers long time ago, we have found our real happiness in this country. We often have to answer the question why we have chosen to live in America. We think we are able to give a reasonable answer because we can compare. Our standard answer to that question is, the US is for sure not paradise and not the ideal society because it's built up by some 250 million human beings. But traveling over the world, we can assure you that you will have a hard time to find a better place to live. Therefore, we have good reasons to be thankful and to celebrate the birthday of this great nation. And like in the Dutch tradition, we should not come to a birthday party with empty hands. One has to carry a gift. What kind of a gift could we come up with for the birthday of our country? The most appropriate gift, in our opinion, would be that we promise to contribute our share in what the founding fathers once started. They worked hard to develop this country, made it prosperous and a better place to live for everybody. They installed and maintained high moral values based on a strong belief in God. They have shown the world that they could handle their freedom. Our forefathers didn't contribute frivolous gifts to this country. So, let us celebrate this birthday of our nation, not only with a spectacular firework, but let's wrap up a big box for Uncle Sam, containing a huge amount of humility, a lot of tolerance, respect for each other, and patience, the most of integrity and compassion, and a strong will to share freely with others. Thank you, founding fathers. Happy birthday, Uncle Sam. We love this country. May God bless this nation and all of us.